I don't listen to music exclusively via records, but it accounts for more than 50% of my music consuming time. Second to that, I listen to my CD collection via various devices at home and away using the Room services. I also stream via Apple Music, primarily to hear new releases and for background listening when I'm not at home. You know, used CDs are so cheap now, I'm taking full advantage and I'm only paying between 10 cents and $1 each. Over the past couple of years, I've essentially doubled my CD library. I do prefer buying used older record pressings. Owning all original releases is my ultimate goal. Sometimes clean, well-priced originals can be difficult to find, so I have to go for modern reissues. There was a period in the late 80s and 90s when record companies were primarily putting their efforts into pressing CDs, so the vinyl releases that they put out were in low numbers and mainly in Europe or not at all. I have bought quite a few reissues from that era, as originals can be pricey and sometimes don't sound all that great. Reissuing 80s and 90s CD-only releases on vinyl is really big business now. Record fairs occur pretty regularly, and I follow the upcoming events through the organizer's Facebook page. And they hire a big room and a couple of smaller ones in a building at the University of North Florida. And there was an event scheduled for May 6th, which I attended. Well, when I arrived 10 minutes early, hoping to avoid some of the crowds, because the last one in February was their highest attended fair ever. But when I arrived, I was greeted by a lengthy line. So that meant as soon as I entered the room, I was already dealing with crowded tables and often had to wait my turn to dig into the crates. But check out all of these people making the effort, driving miles to this event, having fun, looking for and buying the music they love. And the sellers are making some good money, supporting themselves and their families. Streaming can't hold a candle to any of this. That's a lonely, empty endeavor with little that is real or meaningful. I saw most of the regular sellers I'm familiar with, and I had a mental want list in my head for the records I was hunting for. Well, I did find 2 from my list, and I also grabbed a few upgrades for my collection with some cleaner originals, and I filled in some gaps, and I didn't find a ton of records, though, that I wanted this time. But I'm satisfied with what I got. And I even visited the CD room and bought 6 of them, spending crazy money, 3 for $10. So here's what I ended up with when I was done. This is a super clean copy of Mott the Hoople Live. Very cheap and one of my favorite ever live albums. I always just loved this band. And I'm a big fan of Return to Forever, and this was the only studio LP that I did not own, and it was on my want list. I already owned Some Girls by the Rolling Stones, but this is the uncensored version before they had to remove the images of Lucille Ball, Farrah Fawcett, Raquel Welch, Judy Garland, and Marilyn Monroe because they were about to get sued. And I don't see it very often, so I picked it up. I have the modern reissue of Speaking in Tongues by Talking Heads, but this is an original from 1983, which you know is what I'm always looking for. I also own a modern reissue of Bowie's Pinups, which I think is a fantastic covers album and very underrated. And this is a 1973 pressing that can be had pretty inexpensively. Another Bowie album, Heroes, which I don't own yet because I've been waiting to find a clean 1977 original. And, I rarely see this one around, so I picked it up. And here's REM's Green from 1988. I believe this was the first time I've come across this one. And it was their first release on the Warner Brothers label. I had to get it, And David Bowie's David Live. Yes, I already own it, so does everyone else. But mine has an annoying skip on side A. And this one has far less ring wear than normal. And as always, it's very affordable. I just read a book about Donald Fagen from Steely Dan, and it mentions that the other half of the duo, Walter Becker, produced this album, China Crisis, Flaunt the Imperfection, in 1985. And the instrumentation is very 1980s, but I can definitely detect the excellent Steely Dan-like production. And the songs are really enjoyable. You should check it out. And as I said earlier, I picked up a few CDs. One by Beck, The Blue Nile, David Bowie again, The Jam, New Order, and Massive Attack. Well, that's how I spent a recent Saturday morning. I didn't go crazy, and the sellers were willing to do some deals. And I just found out that there's another fair here in about a month. And I think they're going to need a larger space in the future if things continue like this. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like this video, consider subscribing, and keep an eye out for future My Own Devices audio channel videos. Bye.